Hi everybody, and welcome to video 1, take 2 of Books, Bugs, and Botanicals. This is my design team project for LineDotArrow for the month of September of 2024. Now, I want to talk to you about the pages just a minute. For just a minute, I am not going to do a flip through because you can go over to Natalie's YouTube channel at LineDotArrow. It's all one word, LineDotArrow. And she does a flip through, plus she does our first week challenge. So let me explain about the challenges. There's a challenge every week except for the last week of the month. So there's 3 challenges, and you can either do the challenge or not. You can use the kit or not. But there's a drawing as well. So there's 5 Facebook groups that are participating in this challenge group. Now, if they're, each one is having a drawing. So if you post a picture in the groups with the hashtag Books Botanicals 24, Books and Botanicals 24, I'll put it on the screen because I can't believe I didn't write it down. If you use the hashtag and post your picture, and you are just posting something with the freebies, because there's freebies every week from LineDotArrow Facebook group and LineDotArrow Ko-fi channel. So if you use the freebies alone, you get 1 entry into the drawing if you post using the hashtag. If you use the freebies and one of the 2 kits, 3 kits, there's 3, then you get 2 entries into the drawing. If you use only kit papers, 1, 2, or 3, or all, because there's a discount if you get all 3, then you get 2 entries. At LineDotArrow on Etsy right now, each of these individually of the 3 that we're using this month, and they'll be listed below, are 25% off. However, if you get all 3 together, then you get 50% off this month only. So you better run on over there because these are all very cool kits. There's like a pinkish version of this, a lighter version, and then there's a ledger kit. So you want to take a look at all of those. All right, so now the other thing I wanted to talk to you about real quick are the papers. I left this one untrimmed just to show you. Like I said, I'm not going to do a flip through. I'm just going to talk to you about this for just a second with the printing. Now, I know I've talked about this before, but I don't remember when the last time was that I did it. So I'm going to do it again. These papers are in European measurements. It's like a A4, A5. I don't even know. I have no idea. I can never remember if it's A4 or A5. So when you print it out in the US, for us US people that use 8.5 by 11, any country that uses 8.5 by 11 papers, it's going to look like this if you do it properly. If you turn off fit to page, turn off borderless, you'll get this. And it looks funny because it's got a bigger border on the top and on the bottom, and the smaller borders are on the sides, but you get the full picture. Okay? In other words, the image is not cropped at all. You don't lose any of it at all. Now, on this one, you can see that I printed it fit to page. You can see the difference, but I lost part of the edges. The only reason I did it was so that the LineDotArrow part would be bigger. So the other thing you can do, so you want to turn off fit to page, and you want to turn off no border, borderless, in any combination. You don't want either one at all. So then the other thing you can do is, if you're going to print back to back, make sure you've got your back to backs the same. you know, the same settings, turn everything off, unless you're doing a solid paper and you want to make sure all these edges are covered. Instead of doing it exactly the same, if your printer's off just a little bit, then you'll have a white line that you have to cut off. So print it full page fit to page. Then you'll know for sure. You can see that the border area here is covered. All right, now this page does not come with the kit. It's one that I had in my papers folder that I have. I have no idea what kit it came from, and I use another one too that's not from the kit. Okay, I just needed a couple of light plain papers for the backs. So that's it for that. So I'll trim this one later. So now what we're going to do is a manila folder project, and we've already done this once, but I had to get rid of those videos because it totally came out wrong, and I wasn't going to do a whole video too on how to make the folder when we could have done it all in video one. There was no reason to make you watch the wrong one and then the right one. The wrong one came out like this, which looks pretty cool. The leaves and stuff turned out fine, but it was way too big. So we're going to do it again, and I'm going to do the leaves again. I can't believe I'm going to ink and stencil that whole thing again twice, but I am. And to get the same effect around the edge, because I really like the leaves with the leaves. Okay, and you know what though? I may just do the dark ones. I don't think that the rusty fall looking ones do any complement to the colors. So I think I'm just going to do, the brown. I think I'm just going to do walnut stain, and I'm not going to do spiced marmalade. Spiced marmalade does on manila folder what Rusty Hinge looks like on a white paper. Okay, so it gives it that kind of a rusty autumny color. Rusty Hinge is more orange. You could use Rusty Hinge, spiced marmalade, and a green or a brown and get a really nice autumn combination. Okay, so we're not going to use that. We're not going to use that. So enough about what we're not going to use. Now, this is a legal sized manila folder. Look at this giant thing. And we need to cut it down desperately. So what we're going to do is, now we need to see our border, but we don't want our page to get lost like it did here. Lost in the middle of the stenciling. It was too much. If we were using regular US size papers that were taller, then it probably would have been fine. Well, maybe not. It would have still been wide on the edges. So what we're going to do is we're going to use 1/4 of an inch is awful small. Oh, we're just going to use the green though. But you won't be able to tell that they're leaves. So if we do 3/8 of an inch, then I think we'll be all right. So 3/8 of an inch down. It's here. Yes, we're going to end up cutting the tab off. 3/8 of an inch down is there. Then if you line the paper up with just the height, that's all we're doing right now, at 3/8 of an inch, then go to the bottom of the paper and go out 3/8 of an inch. That still looks a little big. Is it because I'm holding it out there? It's going to be here. Well, that's better. If we do just a quarter, it's so small. I think we're just going to do a quarter anyway. I think the other's too big with these smaller papers. Okay, so we put the paper a quarter of an inch down. Then we put the paper here. And I'm not going to measure the paper because there's such an off size on US paper. Oh, 7.5. Anyway, we'll go down a quarter of an inch. So really we're going to cut them 8 inches tall. No. Yes. So it should be 8 inches tall. And then we're going to go in a quarter of an inch. Which is going to be at this first gusset line that's on a manila folder. And we'll line our paper up with that. And then we're going to go in the quarter of an inch that we need for the border. Then we're going to go, no, I think that's where we got in trouble. No, that's not true. The quarter of an inch and then a half an inch for the size of the tab. So that's going to be 3/4 of an inch. And it's going to be right there. Yeah, and that'll be the tab. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's 3/4 of an inch. My paper got crooked. Okay. So that's our width and our height. So we're going to cut our height first because we can't lay it in there this way if you're using a legal size. If you're using a regular page size, you're going to want 8 inches tall by 6 and 5/16. So you could go 6 3/8 and you would be fine, I think. Okay, you would have just a smidge more on the tab side. You already have all kinds of trimmed off manila folder papers as well. Okay, we'll check that before we cut the second one. Much better. Okay. Let's cut the tab out on this one before we cut the other one. Okay, this is my 8.5 by 11 tab template. So this is the smaller tab versus the legal sized envelope that gives you a larger tab. We've got a smaller project, so we're going to do the smaller tab. Trace around that little corner and then trace around here. Okay, now you're just going to cut your tab out of your front page. You know what? We better mark the measurements on here real quick before we start cutting things off, huh? So this is our beginning size. Okay, just in case it turns out correct. So then we open it up. We cut out the tab. Okay. For some reason, even though this one is rounded as well, I can cut it out really well, but not the others. Okay, now the corners on this, we're going to round the 3 corners that are not the tab with a 1/2 inch. I don't know what that is in small, medium, and large, but I would imagine it's large. For those of you that have the small, medium, and large folders, file corner cutters. All right, now let's see. Much better. That looks much better. Okay, so now we're going to take this part and we're going to cut it even with this part, because on a tabbed folder the tab sticks out by itself. So we're just going to cut this right off. I don't know why I rounded the corners first. I wasn't thinking. So wait to round the corners until you cut this off. Now you can round the corners. Silly. I am so very silly. Probably after doing all that stenciling and inking and then realizing it was the wrong size. Probably. Okay. So that looks a lot better. That looks a lot more like a doable size with the stenciling and the way it looks and everything. Right, so it's going to be on the page equal with the first gusset line. Right, that'll be fine. So let's cut the other one out. You're going to have this giant part that you cut off, but you want to save it. And save your template too once you're done with it. And you can use it again, just as you just saw. And do the same thing on this one, only I think we want to do it with the gussets on the, or yeah, the little gusset marks on the other side and the tab on the bottom. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. I'm listening to Sirius XM again. For those of you that have listened to or watched my videos before, you know I listen to music very quietly in the background so that you can't hear it. I'm listening to station 38, which is Hair Nation. And it's all the rock bands with the guys with the long hair that used to flip their hair around. Very cool. Twisted Sister, Bon Jovi, you know, all them. Oh, Cherry's crazy. Old and listening to young person's music back when I was young. I don't know what it is now. It's probably old on the oldies station for old people like me. Well, it is, because I was listening to Classic Rock Top 1000, and those were all the songs that were popular when I was out, and now they're classics. So, needless to say, I'm jamming out in the background. Okay, then we're going to cut this shorter again before we do the corners this time. And that way it will look like a real miniature manila folder. Then we're going to round the corners. What did I just, oh, I put it back. I was going to say, what did I just do with my template? I thought it was a goner. So there we go. So now we're going to take a break and we're going to do whatever it is you want to do to the folders. Now, if you're going to bend the folder at the gusset, then be sure to ink that too. And then don't ink your pattern over onto it. It looks better that way to have this clear area. And then you can put a piece of paper in there and make a border or something. It looks a lot better. I don't know what we're going to do if we glue this together because we want to kind of know what we're going to do if we're going to cut anything before we start inking. If we glue these two together, yeah, we can make this into a pocket, this into a flap, and that gives us another two sides. So let's take a look at where we want to do that, because that'll give us extra places that we're going to need to ink. Okay. So we're going to go down. Do we want to go halfway? We'll have to keep this here so we can see where the tab is going to be. Let's do it. That's high enough for a pocket. Let's make a mark and then see how high that is and then decide. Is that 3.25 inches up? And we'll go 3.25 inches up. And we'll draw a line. See, I'm not sure I like drawing on the thicker side. I'm not sure that new... Oh, I was going to mention that Tim Holtz has a new ruler. It's like this. It's like the Timmy ruler with the markings and everything. The markings are put in the center of the ruler, or somehow they're not painted on the back so they can't eventually rub off. And both sides have this little metal part. And I guess the holes are bigger for you to dot through, because I don't know about you, but my pencil can't dot through that. So anyway, I don't know how much it costs. I don't know if you can get it on Amazon. You know what I mean? I don't know any of those things. So we're going to cut this. It's going to go like this. So this is going to be the top. The top. Okay, this is going to be the top. This is going to be Glue's pocket. So we're going to make a pocket with this. And then on this side, we'll have two full pieces. You know, maybe insert something or whatever there. So we're going to go ahead and cut this now so that we can ink it. That way we can ink it properly and stencil it. Now, doing this, I will stencil and ink all the way over where it's going to be to the regular fold. Let's see, do I want to do that? Or do I want to do this? I might want to do this. Oh, no, I don't, because then that'll mess that up. Well, it wouldn't if I scored it. It would make the front page smaller. We could do that. Oh, no, it would be way smaller. No. No, we won't do that. Okay, oh, that's right. We're going to glue it on as a pocket. So we're all right. Sorry about the ring bash. So go ahead and ink around all the edges. Ink along your cut here and stencil. around your edges. Now these you're going to have to do because it's going to be a, this is going to be a flip. This you don't have to do, but I always do it just in case, and it's easier just to do everything all the way around. It's not that big of a deal. Because you have to ink this anyway because it's a pocket, and you'll be able to see it. You know, or maybe a little bit when you open the pocket to put stuff in and out. And then you're just going to want to ink all of this outside seams or folds, and everything, the tabs, everything, ink everything on here. Okay, so we're going to take a break and do that. And then we've got 30 minutes left, and we'll get started with our cover. I'll figure out what we're going to do with the cover too. So we'll be back in just one sec. Okay, I'm back, and as you can see, I'm not inked and stamped and all that stuff. And the reason is this, because when I was getting ready to ink, I was like, wait a minute, this is not going to work. So what we have to do is we have to glue this whole gusset like so. We have to glue this gusset to the front of here. Well, when we do that, look how long it makes these. So that makes them way too long for us to glue this on as a pocket. Okay, you see? And then, so we're going to have to cut it. And in order to cut it, I'm not going to use this. One of my many calculations that didn't work. What we're going to do is we're going to take both pockets, or both the pocket and the flap, make sure that the entire gusset, all 1, 2, 3, 4 sections of it are on top of the bottom folder. So do it like this, leave yourself a little teeny bit so that you can mark where that little tab, you know, the little one that we cut on the opposite side of the big tab, so that you can see where that is. And then mark your pocket to that width, and then cut off both the pocket and the flap that wide, and then ink it and everything. Then before we glue it together, we're going to have to paper this one, because or we can just wait until we do the pocket. Okay, we can just wait until we do the pocket, as long as we remember to paper number 6 first, then glue. You know what though, what if I just wanted to stencil on here on the pocket? So I might want to do that. So paper before, I made a capital B, paper before gluing pocket. Okay, because this paper is going to go down behind there, and you don't, I mean, you don't have to, but it's a real pain in the you-know-whatsy to get, slide it down in there and to have it glued back behind the pocket. It's easier just to do it before you glue the pocket on. Okay, so you're going to cut this off at this little point, not at this point and not at this point. You're not going to cut it off at this point. Well, you could, the top one, actually, that would be kind of fun. Then the flap wouldn't stick out as far as the pocket. That would be something kind of different. Okay. So let's cut this pocket right here. And we'll cut the other one at that mark on this, at the mark on this side. I can always make this shorter, but I can't make it longer. Wait a minute. What am I doing here? I'm doing it this way. No, that's 9. And that's 6. This is the cover. So we'll get this tab. This pocket will be equal here. This tab will stick out a little bit more to here, and we'll round it. Okay. Then when we come back, we'll figure out how to glue it. Okay, so that'll just make it a little more interesting as a folio, something different that we haven't done before. And I always like trying to figure out some kind of mechanical way to get it to work that's different than the way I've done it before. And so after 1,200 videos, it gets a bit rough. So I like playing with the folders and seeing what I can make them do. Okay, so we'll be back right after this break, and I'll have mine cut. You can see mine. I'll give you the measurements and everything after we come back, and I'll have everything inked and glued. I've got part of it inked already. Okay, all right, I'll see you in just a second.